Hola, Mr. Fred Field. You are here right on time. Well, you were a minute early. It looks like I was almost a minute late. Is my mic plugged in? How are you today, Fred? We are so fortunate here in Ohio. We have rain, and it's quite a blessing, finally. And let's pray for all the people in the path of the hurricane further south. That's just dreadful. I think there's been like 11 fatalities. So I've missed you guys so much. I'm so happy to be on live. I've been really up and down with the vertigo. And like I said in my last video a few days ago, I'm just super grateful for every good day that I have, and especially 2 days in a row. So I had a good day yesterday, good day today so far. And, I've been keeping up with a lot of YouTube content and taking mass notes. So the cases that I wanted to discuss the most, as I put into the thumbnail and into the description, Sandra Birchmore, just the saddest thing in the world. And the judge in Kentucky, that shite is cray-cray. Let me do my routine stuff, get the ball rolling, get into some cases. Please hit that like button and make sure you're still subscribed. Turn on your notification bell to ring. Share a video of mine if you like. Everything that I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something. All my videos are made for YouTube, and it's an entertainment platform. Where'd you go, Fred? Are you still around? And I got Mookie here too. Mookie, will you come into the screen? Come here, baby. Come here. Oh, you're so cute. This is the baby girl. This is the little one. The little one who I draw a heart on her forehead every time I think she might come on screen. No, that's just natural. Like, it is like the most perfect black heart or dark brown heart. And she's kind of the color of like tiger eye. And she's my little girl. She's so cute. And then Coco is not. Oh, she is in the room. She's right here. Hey, baby girl. Awesome. So I'm just going to try to start talking about these cases right off the bat, because a lot of times, in case you haven't noticed, I ramble on a little bit about all kinds of things before I get down to business. So let's see. The situation in Canton with Stoughton PD, if I'm saying that right. Granny Annie, hello, TGIF, yes. And so Stoughton and Canton. And then that area is, I have so many notes. I'm going to get myself all confused, get myself into a tailspin here. So Norfolk County is about an hour away from there. That's where Enrique Delgado-Garcias was essentially unalived in a boxing match in alleged training. I think the name of the town is New Braintree. Yeah, that's where the Massachusetts State Patrol Academy is. New Braintree is tiny. It's under 1,000 people. So that's pretty wild. And then the Avington PD is near Stoughton and Canton. I think I'm saying that right. Avington PD, where Josh Heel went. So Josh Heel was, I believe, a canine police officer with Stoughton PD, who also allegedly abused Sandra Birchmore. And then when he was transferred to this other police department, if I'm accurate with what I'm calling it, Avington, he was the school resource officer, you guys. It just doesn't get any worse than this. It's unbelievable. So the DA and I'm going to jump between these cases, even though at this point I don't see any clear connection with Enrique Delgado-Garcias and Sandra Birchmore, Karen Reed. Like I said, they're about an hour apart geographically. And the DA for Norfolk County, which is where, wait a second. Okay, so the DA for Norfolk County said that the case was too weak to pursue with Sandra Birchmore prior to the FBI getting involved, which is why the FBI had to get involved, because the DA of that county that Canton and Stoughton are in, Norfolk County, said, oh, they knew there was stuff going on from jump. I've said it again and again. I'm pretty sure within about a month of her alleged self-injury fatality, that the twin brothers and the chief that were allegedly having relations with her and groomed her, that they were all put on an administrative leave. But then it was another year plus before they were finally forced to resign and then decommissioned. So just recently, you guys have probably seen a lot of people talking about this on YouTube in the last week. The twin brother, Matthew Farewell, is the one that got Sandra preggers allegedly. And then William Farewell is the one who just gave up his commission. So none of the three of them will ever practice law in the state of Massachusetts again. But, theoretically, they could practice in another state. Yes, unalived with special senior staff visiting. Yeah. Just downloading my paycheck. That's funny. And I got Danielle. Hello. Town cities in Massachusetts are hard to pronounce. Abington, thank you. Like you're going to say the name Abby. By the way, I'm Voices for Justice with Danielle. Oh, awesome, Danielle. I love your channel. Love it. I've been getting to know you recently. Thank you kindly for being here. But I watch lives and videos on this account. Very, very cool. So yeah, keep up the good work. You're doing a lot of great work there too. And yeah, I think as many of us that can talk about this case and learn about it and try to tie it all together, Sandra Birchmore and the Karen Reed, and then the situation with Enrique Delgado-Garcias is sort of, or it is an entirely different situation. However, these counties are right next to each other. And Enrique Delgado-Garcias was a victim advocate in which county? In Worcester. In the Worcester, and I'm saying that one wrong. All of these places, like you said, Danielle, they're all like, because of the whole British influence, they're all kind of like England. So it's the one that looks like Westchester to me, but it's pronounced Worcester. One of my mods told me that the other day. And like I said, we have a Worcester here in Ohio and we spell it correctly. And yeah, our Worcester is real close to Canton, which the Worcester, I guess is more how you say it up there in the Boston accent. That one is about an hour from Canton. I am very nerdy with maps. I love looking these things up and seeing how close things are. So let's see. John O'Keefe from the Karen Reed case, he was unalived about a year after Sandra Birchmore was unalived. And we have a lot of the same officers involved. So this Josh Heel that allegedly had intimate relations with Sandra Birchmore, maybe not when she was underage, but still the power dynamic it's not appropriate. And I believe it was on the clock, just like with the other douchebags, completely inappropriate. But Josh Heel, who then went to become that school resource officer, which is just frightening, right? Surrounded by underage teenagers. So he was involved with the John O'Keefe and Karen Reed case as well, allegedly. So there's this other name. I think this is going to be important in both cases. I believe Nicholas Garino. He's a Massachusetts state highway patrolman that failed to extract the 32,000 plus text messages between Matthew Farwell, I've heard it pronounced both ways, Farwell, and Sandra Birchmore. Over 32,000. He said he couldn't gain access to any of them, but the FBI got all of them. And that's 32,000 in just about a 13-month period just prior to her loss of life. So Nicholas Garnino, I think, did some similar stuff with the John O'Keefe case, I believe. Let's see, what else do I have here? So September 12th of this year, and right now we're about 2 weeks from that arrest. And whose arrest is that? Oh, I know whose arrest that was. Sorry, brain fart. That was Matt, the one who got Sandra pregnant. So Abington PD, Josh Scheel, school resource officer, Abington police chief, knew about all of the stuff that was going on in the neighboring town with Canton, and however you say the other one, Stoughton. Oh, and then when you're up there and all these people with their thick Boston accents, you can't understand anything they say, not even ka. When they say that they went to the ka, you're like, you went to the what? The ka. Anyway, but at the same time, I do love the Boston area and the culture there. It's gritty. It's a very harsh place, and the people there are very proud. There's a lot of Irish Catholic. There's a very high propensity towards alcoholism, which is interesting because John O'Keefe's demise, I think there was alcohol going on with him, with Karen Reed, and with everybody at the property where his remains were found the next morning. So another thing that we've been hearing about on the interwebs the last 48 hours is the Gabby Petito body cam from the police officer that initially responded to the calls from her mother, and he initially went up to the laundry property, walks right by her van, knocks on the door, only to be met with hostility and basically suspicious behavior, right? So I've been talking about the Gabby Petito case recently, and you guys know that I put in a couple of requests, the FOIAs or the public records requests years back for specifically, very, very specifically, I haven't talked about this in a while, the body cam footage from the female park ranger named Melissa Hall on that day of August 12th, 2021, when Gabby and Brian were pulled over outside of the Delicate Arches. Hey, Bex. Hey, Sandra. And Melissa Hall allegedly took Gabby aside and had like a 60-minute conversation with her right there on the spot, which would all be on her body cam. So Paula Plunder has tried to get that body cam from the files. I've tried to get that body cam from the files. That was what put me on their list to notify me when everything became available on the Vault website, the FBI website. However, the Melissa Hall park ranger body cam footage is still not available, and I doubt it ever will be. And I really want to know what she said to her, because I can only imagine. And I'll tell you what I imagine, and it may or may not have any accuracy, but I think it does. I think it's why it's going to be hidden forever and ever. So let me catch up with you guys, and then I'll tell you what I think might be on that body cam footage. And you guys, if you wanted to, you could send an email and make a request too, and we could try to bully them. I mean, what Paula does is she writes them an intent to sue, and that's how she got that infamous surveillance footage of the 3-hour, 33-minute interview with Nicole Kessinger in the Watts case. So yeah, I've been in a couple of Watts lives lately too. I was in ATS last night, Amber Truth Seeker. I really like her. I really like her and Kelly Watts the Obsessions and their lives, that they continuously get into the minutia of that case, because I think most of that case is complete BS. Really, honestly, truly. I'm glad you can download your paycheck, Fred Field. I wish I could download mine. YouTube says that it's in process, my first payment ever. I'm excited, but I'll believe it when I see it. So town cities in Massachusetts are hard to pronounce. Okay, I read that one. Yeah. Danielle says, thank you. I love yours too. Oh, very cool. And yours is pretty new, isn't it? I always look at the date of when people's channels were initiated, but then I look up so many of them, I forget. I think yours was pretty new, wasn't it? Maybe just like with the Micah Miller case. Voices for Justice. I will put you in my queue. My algorithm got stale. Oh, I know. The algorithms are awful. They give me all kinds of stuff that I've told them I never want to see. Yes, I caught alive. Yay, Sandra. How are you with the hurricane coming through? I don't know if that hit your side of the state. I know it hit the west side of the state, I would imagine, because it's a pretty skinny state, right? And trying to stay awake for the live to clean after I looked at alarm cross-eyed and took a shower before realizing it was 1 a.m., not 2 a.m. LOL. Yes, just started in July. Well, congratulations, Danielle. You're doing really well. You're doing really well. If you told me you started 10 years ago, I would believe you, because you seem like you really know what you're doing. Maybe you've got the professional background or something, or you just have a knack for it. That's awesome. So I've been sharing with people that I live really close to Springfield, Ohio, because all of that noise is near and dear to my heart. And what I wanted to share, the reason I brought it up, I try so freaking hard to stay out of the politics as much as I can. And as this election gets closer and closer, I think it's going to be harder and harder, but I don't know that I really want to go there. So I'm going to keep trying to skate around that stuff. But what I wanted to say about Springfield, because I wasn't aware of this, because I just didn't know. I don't go to the grocery stores in Springfield. That even the grocery stores have had bomb threats and lockdowns, you guys. So I have friends that have been in the Kroger's and in the Walmart when they've had bomb threats and lockdowns in the freaking store. That's how bad it is. Like, I mean, it's already bad enough with the schools and with the government buildings and all that. But the other thing that I did is I looked up what the most dangerous cities are in Ohio. And the most dangerous city in Ohio is Chillicothe, which is a very small town, about an hour. I think it's about directly south of Columbus. And I can tell you why that's such a dangerous town. Canton, Ohio is the second most dangerous. And I did watch JLR's video of the woman who allegedly took a bite out of a cat. I don't think that that's in the video, but I'm going to link that video because it's a short video, and Canton is the second most dangerous city in Ohio. The third most dangerous city in Ohio is Cleveland. And the fourth most dangerous city is Springfield, which pretty much a lot of that was a surprise to me. I would have thought Hamilton and Middleton would have been the most dangerous. Those are both by Cincinnati. Middleton is where J.D. Vance is from. He wrote that book, Hillbilly Elegy, about the history of Middleton. And the history of Hamilton is the city was literally invented by the New York, Chicago, and Miami, how shall I say, obsters with an M? The obsters, the Afia, So they would meet up in Cincinnati, and then Cincinnati had all those pesky law enforcement. So they built their own city just a few minutes north of Cincinnati. That's Hamilton. So Hamilton and Middleton aren't too far from each other. Fairfield's down there too. All those places are really sketchy. And then, there's parts like the southwestern part of our state is the most poverty stricken, and Chillicothe is the closest city to there. Athens is there, but Athens is where Ohio University is. So there's jobs with Ohio University and all that. Anyway, Chillicothe, let me tell you real quick, because in case you haven't heard of Chillicothe, what put Chillicothe on the map is they got their very own TV show a few years back. It was a 30-minute show. I think it was once a week, because they had so many missing women from Chillicothe. And then they would find them red-rummed. And they were usually from the adult entertainment industry type of thing. And there's a signature. So they think that all of these unalivings are from the same individual. If not the same individual, then people that know each other and know the signature, because they're not real public about the signature. But my thought is that it could very likely be law enforcement. I'm bringing that up because of the situation with the law enforcement there in the Norfolk County. That's where Canton and Stoughton are. So you got the law enforcement problems with Kentucky too. I mean, let's talk about the Kentucky for a minute, because you know how I like to jump all over the map. At least I'm kind of staying in a region with Kentucky, because that's right next to Ohio. But the town in Kentucky where the sheriff unalived the judge is about 4 hours from where I am. It's kind of like southeastern Kentucky. And that town is really small, like under 2,000 people. Oh, they're having a carnival this weekend. Today's Friday. So yeah, this weekend they're having a carnival. So real quick, the district attorney is married to the sister of the judge's wife. So let me see if I wrote down their names so that I can be more specific as I'm talking. This is pretty bad. This is really bad. Okay, are you ready? So the judge's name is Kevin Mullins, right? Mickey Stein is the sheriff who allegedly shot him. So they went out to lunch that day. This was roughly 10 days ago now. They went out to lunch, and then when they got back, they were in the judge's chambers having an argument. And then they were looking at each other's cell phones or something. Something was on the cell phones. And then I think there was some yelling. Mickey Stein shot Kevin Mullins 8 times, close range. And then this was 2:55 in the afternoon. He walked out of the judge's chambers and said, "Arrest me." And he was arrested at 3:00. So What's the history there, we might wonder, and I'm sure you've heard some of this. So this is Whitesburg, Kentucky, and there was a deputy that was fired who worked under Mickey Stein. That deputy was found guilty and sentenced to exploiting a woman, I think in those same judges' chambers, in exchange for him not to put her in jail. He was found guilty and he was sentenced to 6 months in jail himself and 7 years probation. However, he was also guilty of doing that same thing with at least 2 others that didn't go, those cases didn't go to court. And now Mickey Stein is being sued by the victim that that the deputy got that sentence for. So Mickey Stein had testified in that case because he's the deputy's supervisor. So he had done his most recent deposition on that lawsuit against him about 3 days before he shot the judge. So I'm going to speculate, and I know I said I'll speculate about that other stuff too. Hold on, I'll go back to it if I can remember. You guys can help me out there. I'm going to guess that it was an open secret with this deputy, and that if it happened in the same judge's chambers, which is what I've heard, that maybe the judge even knew about it, but wasn't getting sued. I don't know. Then there's allegations that Mickey Stein has a 17-year-old daughter that the judge might have been texting with. There's all kinds of allegations against the judge for being into underaged people. And on a side note, he does resemble that guy, Pee Wee Herman, quite a bit in the photo that's circulating. I'll just say it. So there's a federal criminal probe into Mickey Stein because of what he allegedly allowed this deputy to get away with. So Pillsdorf law offices of Prestonburg, Kentucky. Pillsdorf law offices, I think, is the law office that sued to get the deputy into that 6 whole months of prison and 7 years probation. That just makes me sick. That absolutely makes me sick. So there's allegations flying around, and let's be clear that they're allegations, that there was something going on between the judge and the sheriff's daughter. Again, this is a town of less than 2,000. So this is what happens with small towns, which is why I say small towns and social media shall not commingle or intersect, because it's just a shite show. Okay. So let's see. We just had rain, Sandra says, and wind from around noon yesterday, and very mild. Thank you. Awesome. That's good to hear. Yeah, it seems like it's pretty bad coming up the East Coast. That is according to the crimes reported. Granny Annie says. Fred Field says, my grandparents had convenience stores in Lima and Findlay. So Lima was up high on the top 25 cities in Ohio for crime. I was surprised that Dayton was higher than Columbus or Cincinnati. I didn't memorize the list, but I tried to memorize the first few. Chillicothe, I think we all know someone who lives there. Yeah, Bex, I was going to leave that out, but you said it. Yeah, there's a certain somebody on the internet who is always calling the Chillicothe police on herself, and she has a YouTube channel, and she's trying to talk about crime in other places. It's like, girl, just focus on your own city. My goodness, come on. You don't need to be looking any further than your front yard, or maybe even inside the house. I don't know, allegedly. So, did I do my whole disclaimer thing? Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of starting a conversation, hoping to open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All my videos are made for YouTube. It's an entertainment platform. I know I said most of it, but I don't know if I said the entire thing. Sometimes I leave the very tail end of it off because I get distracted by a squirrel or, something like that happens. Alabama is giving approval in some areas to drop immigrants and notifying residents they voted to do it, and wrote a letter speaking as the residents approved not. Yeah, I can't speak to that, Sandra. I know nothing about it. I've been learning a lot about what's been going on here in Springfield, and it is getting mischaracterized, and it is a very volatile situation. I'm concerned about the safety of the city. There's been at least 33 of these bomb threats and lockdowns throughout the city over the course of the last month, roughly. Judge like to see the top of lady offenders' heads. What, Granny Annie, are you talking about? The judge liked to see the top of the lady offenders' heads. Please tell me that the judge wasn't like spying on that deputy when he was having his way with these women that he was basically blackmailing. That's insane. That would be shocking. And not a lot shocks me. I guess it'd be shocking for it to be out in public more so than shocking just that it's a thing. So good afternoon, everyone. J.R. Nana Boomer says, hello, my dear. Sending love and light to all. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. And don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't yet. That's always very helpful with the algorithm. And I am trying to keep my, oh my goodness, you guys. I am going to hit this button. Please don't worry about it. I'm hitting the fan funding button because I've never seen it before. Oh, then I only see okay, I'm going to put it back to live chat. Okay. But that's the first time I've ever seen that. So I think I've finally gotten to that point with my monetization that it's for real. Wow. Okay. Side note. What was the thing I was going to share with you my crazy opinion about? Do you guys remember? Like 10 minutes ago? My theory about, oh, here it is. I got it. I remembered and everything. I'm so proud of my brain. I've been so extra loopy, but I'm glad that it works. And notes help tremendously, whether I'm loopy or not. I always need my notes. So in the Gabby Petito case, I was going to tell you my opinion of why we might not ever see the Melissa Hull body cam video with their conversation. So I have heard that Melissa took Gabby aside and that they had like a 1 hour heart to heart right there on that site where the traffic stop or the domestic violence intervention happened. Or lack of intervention, right? I mean, she was deceased 2 weeks later, maybe 2 weeks and a day later. No more than 2 weeks and a day later, Brian unalived her. And I also want to say, I think that he beat the tar out of her in that van. And I think that he was either done doing that or in the process of doing that. Maybe done doing that would be more likely, when he had the back door ajar of the van and Red, White, and Bethune was driving by and he pulled the door shut. Do you guys remember when that video first came out and we were all just like, there's no way that he pulled the door shut when they drove by? And at first it was real grainy. It was hard to tell. It was almost like you were inventing it, right? It's so hard to tell in these digital images. But then they were able to sharpen up the digital image. And yeah, he did close the door. There's one pair of sandals by the back door. Her hat, her straw hat, is in the front like in the passenger seat, I think in the dashboard. I'm going to bet you that she was either no more, maybe he had the back door open so that it didn't reek so bad. Oh my goodness. I seriously just thought of that. I apologize. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. Because I was saying this about the Madeline Soto case the other day with her mother driving with her remains in the car. That smell starts immediately. A lot of you guys probably know this. A lot of you guys have probably professionally or personally had an experience. The smell of the decomposition starts immediately upon loss of life. And the more of the red stuff that there is, the more like open wounds there are, the more severe the smell is going to be, like in the Idaho 4 case. But I'm going to guess that, back to the Gabby Petito, that Brian beat the tar out of her in the back of that van. And that we know that he detailed that van in the driveway of the parents' house, right? Didn't he? It's been a while. We know that they detailed that van, him and his parents. But the night when law enforcement rolled up on the house and spoke with his parents and he was hiding inside, they towed that van right then and there. And good for them. But unfortunately, it was probably sanitized already, is my guess. So I'm still getting to the part about Melissa Hall, and I want to read your comments, but let me go ahead with this first so I don't keep dangling that carrot and then jumping over to other thoughts and words. Melissa Hall was the park ranger, and she was the only female out there during this domestic violence intervention. Some of the words that I do remember her saying on other officers' body cams were things to the effect of that your relationship with him looks toxic. You might want to consider getting away from him. Of course, I'm summarizing. But I have always had a suspicion that Melissa Hall might have told Gabby Petito about a nice couple of women that had a homestead up there on LaSalle Loop Road, and that she might have told her, you could drive your van up there and talk with them and tell them I sent you, and you could camp out near them and feel safe. I really, really, really suspect that, and I really, really, really suspect that we'll never, ever, ever see that body cam footage, because, as you know, those two women were married, Crystal Turner and Kylen Schulte. And Kylen Schulte also worked at the Moonflower Co-op, where the domestic violence incident started, right outside on the sidewalk. And Gabby had been sitting at a cafe table outside of the Moonflower for hours and hours and hours that day, virtually Kylen Schulte's entire shift, that Kylen was working there and selling the produce outside. So Gabby's sitting there at a table, Kylen selling produce, and they're roughly the same age. They're both like 22, 23 years old. They're both alternative types, and they both are living the van life. So they probably got to talking. And then whether Melissa Hall was telling Gabby about where they were camping or not, we know that Kylen and Crystal were at Woody's Tavern the next night. So this domestic violence thing happened in Moab, August 12th of 2021, Thursday, I believe. And then Friday night, you have surveillance footage of Crystal and Kylen getting some beers with some friends. And it's a very short clip, and there's not a lot else shared from the surveillance at Woody's Tavern. And haven't you always heard rumors that Gabby and Brian were there playing pool? because allegedly they didn't drink, but this is a small town and there's not a lot to do. And Woody's Tavern is like world famous. So if they were there too, you know what I'm getting at. The next day, Kylen and Crystal were pew-pewed at their campsite in their underpants, running away in their backs and their derrieres, and some weirdo, some other guy named Adam Pazinski or something like that, that allegedly worked at the McDonald's that Crystal worked at, but they never had a shift together and they only met once, that allegedly he did it. And then he conveniently unalived himself before they figured that out and could arrest him or anything, right? I have always maintained that I believe that Brian Laundrie is the one who pew-pewed the two of them, because he might have assumed that Crystal was one of the people that called 911 about the DV incident. And I'm pretty sure she was one of the two, because they got two calls. One was from a guy who said explicitly that he saw the man hitting the woman. And then the other call, they don't say who it's from. So there's a lot in that case that's hush hush. And I think it's because they're covering for what really happened to Crystal and Kylen, because that was Saturday the 14th at about 11:30 in the morning. We know this because there was a wedding nearby and it was on everybody's videotape of the wedding, the sound of the dozen pew-pews, right? And then that would have been the 14th. And then I believe it was the 17th. So that was Saturday. So then you had Sunday and Monday. And then Tuesday, Brian took an airplane ride to Florida to allegedly empty out a storage unit that was all of a sudden an emergency to save money, right? No. He had to get rid of the pew-pew, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. And probably you can fly with a pew-pew in your checked baggage if you have a concealed carry permit, I'm going to guess. My husband's law enforcement, so he gets special privileges he can probably pack on an airplane. I don't know. I know he can be packing pretty much anywhere because he's law enforcement. But I don't like to fly, so I don't know. I'll have to ask him. Anyway, that was a whole rabbit hole of explaining what I think might be on Melissa Hull's body cam. And then maybe there was much more to that conversation too. Like maybe Gabby was like, oh, a tall woman with dreadlocks. I think I met her at Moonflower today, right? Again, Moab's a small town. So LaSalle, it's called LaSalle Loop Road. I think it's a 60-mile loop, and it's beautiful up there from what I've heard. I've never been up there, but the woman, so it was days before Crystal and Kylen were found, right? It was days, and it was that poor woman Cindy that responded to Kylen's father's Facebook post. And she went up there and found them. Look at this puppy. Oh my goodness, is she such a love? And she's not a puppy. She's like 8 years old. But can you tell we have a special bond? She was 8 weeks old when I got her. I think one day shy of 8 weeks old. And she'd been nursing on her mommy up until the day we got her. And yeah. Look at this baby. Okay. Oh, Granny Annie, I think the last comment that I read of yours, the judge liked to see the top of lady offenders' heads. Oh, I'm following now. I'm so thick. That's gross, Annie Nanny. Granny Annie. I know what you're saying. It took me a minute because I'm so slow in the brain. Let's see. Where am I? It jumped around. Let's see. Yay, money! Monetization, monetization. Yeah, I've been needing to make money with this since I quit my job, 6 months ago or more. But I do have other work, so I'm all right. But yeah, in order to really prioritize the time and effort that I put into this channel, I do need to make it a source of income. So I'm just happy that the ball is rolling with that. It's fabulous. So hopefully it is what they say it is. They say that the first payment is pending. And I was wrong. I thought you had to have $150 for them to finally pay you. It's only $100 actually. So I've been above that for a while. And then the time frame, we just passed the time frame like yesterday that it should have been deposited, but they say it's pending. So we'll see. I did not know that decomp smells started immediately. Yes, like immediately, like within, I'd say 5 minutes, the body just starts releasing gases, and it's a lot that's going on, a lot that's shutting down. So there's a lot of movement too. I was around this once, and you see the person move and you think, oh, wait a second. And no, that's just part of the natural process because of things shutting down. It's heartbreaking. Yes, you get the view I'm talking about, Sandra. Not from the bench, but from under the desk. Now that's a little too much, girls. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Well, if the judge was doing stuff too, that would make sense why the sheriff thought it was within his purview to be the judge, the jury, and the executioner. Although that's never a good idea. And I like to say that the dirt bags just aren't worth it. They're really not. Like, vigilanteism is not a good idea. And our system does have, it lacks a lot, leaves a lot to be desired, but still we have to rely on the system. We can't take it upon ourselves to do that. I mean, if we do, we're putting our own life in peril and everybody else's. So it's just not smart. But, people get upset, say that there was a text from the sheriff's daughter on the judge's phone, say it was an explicit text, then yeah, we can all probably understand the sheriff overreacting to that, right? I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying that there are certain situations that we probably can all put ourselves in and admit that it would be hard to maintain our composure. My husband said, it looks like you got a bunch of extension cords for Christmas. Oh, that's hilarious. No, most of these things are battery operated, almost all of them. Lots and lots. There is one thing that has a cord here, but I don't turn that on because it's too bright. And I do have a lot of extension cords, but I've had them from the get-go. Yeah, I've got a lot of electric candles. I use so many batteries, you guys. And then, as you know, the like AA, AAA, and then those little lithium ones, I go through those like toilet paper. My husband's just like, damn, we're out of batteries again? How come I can never find a battery in this house? So anyway, shall we jump to another case? I feel like I just kind of do that. I kind of jump from case to case, and you guys have said that you like it. So she's adorable, Bex. Who's adorable? Which one? Who? My ex was Navy apprehension and collection until 20 plus years ago. Pre 911, he carried on board. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you want to have a trusted law enforcement military person nearby that's packing. I mean, if you have trusted law enforcement or military nearby and they're not packing and there's a situation, it's going to be, they're not going to be that useful unless they can tackle somebody or something. But yeah, with like open shooter situations, you definitely, I was, I was in a store near the Dayton Mall years ago, and somebody walked out of that store with an entire shopping cart full of stuff without paying for it. And I had little kids with me, and an off-duty police officer chased the guy out of the store, drew his gun, and chased him. And I was so scared and I was so mad. It's like, you don't draw a gun on somebody for walking out of a store with a shopping cart full of stuff. I mean, yeah, you can chase them, but I was so mad. I was so concerned for my safety and the kids. And I just never went back to that store or anywhere near it. It was by the Dayton Mall. Did I say that? It was, and it was close to Christmas. So, you know, I mean, I was glad that at first I was glad that he was being chased, but then when the idiot drew his gun, I was just like, don't you be doing that around me and my kids. No. I mean, we left. We didn't finish shopping. We just got straight out the door into the car and left. And luckily there were no stray bullets in the process of doing that. If it can happen to them, it can happen to us. It's justice for all. Yeah. Yes, dating his daughter, snap. So I figured that the folks in chat have probably heard some of these rumors. I don't think a lot of channels are willing to state explicitly what these rumors are in case they're merely rumors, but it's the same rumor that keeps coming up again and again. So I'm going to state it as a rumor because that's just the way I am. So sorry, not sorry, right? Mookie, yeah, that's my Mookie girl. And where'd Coco go? She's right down here. Hey, baby girl. And yeah, we're getting Coco's CAT scan next Wednesday. Her cancer came back, so they have to remove it again. It's so expensive, you guys. Oh, man. It's insane. But, you know, it's like your child. Like, what are you going to do? Say, oh, no, can't afford the treatment. What I'm more worried about, though, is the treatment compromising her quality of life. Like, that really needs to be taken into careful consideration. The money, you just have to not think about it. My ex was a federal marshal, picked up deserters. Oh, wow, JR Nana Boomer. That is wild. Federal marshal picking up deserters. That is so wild. It's sad that people would do that to themselves, that they would just leave the military without going through the proper channels. That's really unfortunate because, yeah, they mess themselves up big time. You just don't do that, right? But then some of these stories that you hear about people getting exploited and abused by people like P. Diddy within the military. So I guess, you know, if you're not walking in their shoes, you can't really judge. But yeah, again, you can't just be a vigilante and take it upon yourself to take care of the situation. You have to go through the proper channels. Again, if you don't, you're just setting it up for them to keep getting away with it too. So you have to create a paper trail and document things and contact your superiors. And if it's your superior that's doing it, then you have to go above them or around them, and then they can write you up for insubordination. I know it gets complicated. I know. But you still got to do what you got to do. You got to go through the proper channels. You just have to, even if it is not to your satisfaction. There's kind of no choice, in my humble opinion. I'm doing my best to try to reignite Kylie Rodney with CHP final report being out, black box information, etc. Sharing my Kylie Rodney video playlist channel directory. Awesome, JR Nana. And yeah, I mentioned, you were probably in my last live where I mentioned that I'm kind of steering clear of it because to me it's just more bogus malarkey. I'm not buying any of it. I still think kind of the same thing that I've been thinking from jump. I think she was abducted. I think she was turned out. I think she was abused. I waffle back and forth between could she still be alive or not. There's times where I think she's definitely not, and there's times where I think she probably is. It's hard to say. It is so hard to say, but I definitely think that there's a huge whitewash going on, and I don't trust any of these reports that have come out, not even the FBI one. Like, why in the world would it take 2 years for the CHP to write a car accident report? And then to say, I think it was that report that said that her car was at the bottom of the Lake Prosser, which no, the Lake Prosser is a lot deeper than 14 feet. That was like practically on the bank, on the shore. And then, what was the other crazy thing? It said that her car was traveling at a fast rate of speed to get into the water like that, like bogus BS. It could not have possibly even gotten in the water the way they try to pretend that it did with a high rate of speed or a slow rate of speed. It could not have, in my opinion. It absolutely could not have gone through the sand and the mud, and no, not happening. Plus, it wasn't there for the 2 weeks almost that they said that they were looking. I think that it went into that water just a couple of days before. Like, that's probably why SF Investigates got that videotape drone footage of the car in the water. It probably had just gone in the water. And so he was trying to basically show like proof that it was in the water. And yeah, any case you have that man on, forget it. And then the way he says he got on the case, the way he says he's still on the case, effery. Okay. Oh, I get so upset. Our dear Kylie Rodney. But I'm glad that other people are doing it because I just don't have the patience. I get so angry. And yeah, like what I was just saying about going through proper avenues, like what proper avenues can you go through with Kylie Rodney? Like YouTube is pretty much the only avenue that we have available to us if all of these other entities are going to be corrupt. So much corruption. Yes, over in Ware, North Carolina, recruits found deceased, rather AWOL superiors were the issue. Oh, I don't know, but you know, I mean, that guy Enrique Delgado-Garcias up in Massachusetts, in Braintree at the Massachusetts State Patrol Academy, that's on videotape, and that was a training, just a little boxing match, you know, just a little friendly fight. And then his mom alleges that he has broken teeth, a broken neck, and a brain injury. Like the brain injury, I think is what they're saying, caused his loss of life. But whatever it was, I still think that he probably did some victim advocacy work that upset some of these people, and that this was a thing, because it's just crazy. And it's so sad. Plus, I mentioned the other day, he also had a bachelor's degree, which probably none of the other officers did. And so they thought that, you know, he thought he was a hot shot because of that, because he was intelligent and could write. And, you know, a lot of police officers have trouble writing their reports, like, because you kind of do need a college education for that, or you sound stupid, in my humble opinion. So, and quite certain helicopter photos didn't have the car in the water while search was initially on, but it appears they knew where they were going to place it. Helicopter placement, in my opinion. Yeah, Granny Annie, that's entirely one of the possibilities, a helicopter or a boat or some kind of like backhoe kind of thing, an excavator. But again, given the conditions and everything, the lay of the land, you're probably accurate about your instrument being used there, the tool. I wanted measurement, speed, reenactment details. How did she get in the back of the vehicle? Well, and was she still strapped down? Were her hands tied? Why did she have one shoe and sock on and one shoe and sock off? Yeah, she didn't float back there. There's zero possibility of that. And she didn't climb back there either, in my opinion. SF now helping Sebastian Rogers on stepdad's side. So I had heard something like that. Sebastian Rogers is one of the cases I have steered clear of. Like I had been for the Maddie Soto case. And then you guys have probably heard about this. Is this what you were talking about, Annie? The Lionel Cervantes, the 8-year-old autistic boy in South Carolina who in the middle of the school day was missing from class and then found deceased in a pond nearby, 11:30 in the morning, I think, just like 4 days ago. Lionel Cervantes, like that is so tragic. So sad. But I'd kind of be surprised if there's any foul play there. I mean, of course, there's negligence. Absolutely, there's negligence. But we'll see how that pans out. The Sebastian Rogers case is very, very creepy. And SF is very creepy. So yeah, that's not sounding good at all. CHP has driving in the back, airbag sensors didn't deploy because there was no one in the driver's seat. Right, and no key in the ignition. No key in the ignition. Like, where's her keys? Her keys should have been in the ignition if somebody was driving. Hello. NCSO stopped investigating kids because parents wanted left alone after she was found. Well, I think that there's people in some very high positions with a lot of dollars behind them that wanted the case left alone before, during, and after she was found. I'm kind of surprised that they let her be found, but by doing that, they could bring it to a close. They could get people to shut the F up, theoretically. And that's, I think, what their goal was. And if she is still or was still out and not deceased, by doing a body replacement kind of thing, they could get people to stop looking for her, theoretically, and therefore she would be free and clear for whoever had possession of her, if that is indeed what was going on. And I definitely think that that's what's going on. That's just my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. CHP actually documents all this weird stuff and calls it an accident. Well, they just make themselves look so stupid. And then you got to remember the twin brother. You know how you always have these evil twins involved, like Matthew Farwell and his idiot brother William. The CHP twin, Stanio, Matthew Stanio, and then Christopher Stanio, who's one of the Nevada County Sheriff's deputies. So, and at least Chris Stanio was on boots on the ground in the search for Kylie. And then his stepdaughter, Trinity Backus, goes missing 2 months later. Yeah, about 2 months later, 8 weeks later. So what if Christopher Stanio's brother, the California Highway Patrol Trooper, what if he was there too at Kylie Rodney's search? And what if he was also searching at the Trinity Backus search? Because that would be his niece. You guys, This is what really gets me going. Okay, where are we at? We're at about an hour and 3 minutes. Footprints, boot prints on the recruit. Oh, are you talking about Enrique Delgado-Garcias, Granny Annie? Footprints and boot prints? That wouldn't surprise me. J.R. Nana, they actually searched for 2 weeks without finding her and still called it an accident. Right. I mean, it's crazy how they make themselves look so foolish. And again, when I've seen corruption up close, they will try to say, well, we're just incompetent. We're just doofuses. We just don't know how to do our jobs. We were never trained right. It's not that we're corrupt. We're just dumb. Right. I mean, because what are they going to say? Yeah, you caught us. You caught us. Let's see. They informed public of a possible abduction right off the bat. FBI followed that theory and still called it an accident. Jazz, they didn't mention the strap hanging out or being used in the back. Oh, see, that's just crazy. Because, yeah, we all saw that strap hanging out in the video footage from AWP. And then the whole story with Nick, the roadside assistance guy, about the belt and the seat belt and all that jazz. Annie says, I have not heard about this case. On camera, roaming off alone. So the little boy is probably on some cameras. Yes, there is. I saw a still shot of him, I think, walking down the street. So his name is Lionel Cervantes with a C, Cervantes, 8-year-old autistic boy in South Carolina. So he was found like half an hour later in a pond, unalive. So sad. So terribly tragic. 8 years old. And yeah, the school is definitely responsible for keeping him safe during school hours. There is a picture of the key in the ignition. That's hilarious since it's never been mentioned. But of course, put a key in the ignition and take a picture. See, I just can't. Sherry says, hi, Jazz. Heard your dog is not well. So sorry. I will do replay to catch up. Love you. Oh, thank you, Sherry. Coco, she's doing all right, but the mass has grown back and it needs to get removed again. And then this time we will do radiation or the other thing, chemotherapy, one of those after the surgery. We could have done those after the last surgery, but we were just hoping that it wouldn't grow back. So it did grow back, and so that's where we're at. We get a CAT scan on Wednesday, and then we'll have like the whole schedule of the procedure and the follow-up treatments and all that. So yeah, we just try to make every day a perfect day for her, some yummy food and lots of love, lots of snuggles and fun. So she's got a good life. A key in the ignition and one on a lanyard that wasn't in the ignition. That is just weird that all of a sudden this is coming out. Yeah. See, I can't like, it's just so much effort. And I appreciate you sharing it with me so that I don't have to look into it. Because I just can't imagine. I can't imagine. Like, there's just no freaking way it's going to take 2 years in real life unless it's because it took them that long to cook up what they're cooking up. Like, so they're like, okay, plan A didn't work, plan B didn't work, plan C didn't work. And they just took forever trying to figure out what next. Like, do we just leave it alone? No, these people keep talking about it and they keep showing up in town. So good that people keep talking about it and showing up in town. And, I've even thought of emailing Crepe and asking him his opinion. I mean, I know he allegedly didn't have any direct, in-person contact with Kylie, that it was all done electronically off-site, because wasn't that like during COVID too? It was all like probably like the year after COVID, but California is one of those places where it was like locked down forever and ever, like New York City and Colorado, probably the whole West Coast, but especially California. I was very grateful to not be there in Seattle for all of that, because, we lived there for a very long time. Let's see. I wonder if the lanyard was given back to parents and key on a ring put back in the ignition. Could be, Jez. Maybe that is why coroner retired. Yeah, everybody retired, didn't they? But then returned because he really botched the autopsy on her and made it more difficult for them to push the accident theory. Well, and yeah, they need to stay put so that they can keep their thumb on the pulse, so that they can keep control over the situation. If they leave, then who knows what might happen. So, and maybe that's why Kylie Rodney's grandmother got recertified for her job with Child Protective Services that she had just retired from. I don't know. It's a question, not a statement. I'm going to read that one again. Watching the world. Could be, Jazz. Maybe that is why coroner retired, but then returned because he really botched that autopsy on her and made it more difficult for them to push the accident theory. I wonder if LSD is involved. That's a good question, J.R. Nana. All kinds of drugs we're not used to. Well, I would think that they're used to that one. Psychedelics, they're probably used to. Molly's, they're used to. I would think the Coca-Cola that they'd be used to, but I always thought that might have been the one that they were alluding to. And, that was probably just more lies. That was Scammy who said it, like, oh, we're not used to those rugs. Maybe it was the ketamine and, the concoctions that are made out of ketamine and the Coca-Cola, allegedly, from what I hear on the streets, and roofies. I still think she was roofied. Absolutely. Spanish fly, whatever you want to call it. The paychecks of city state workers is easy to look up, I hear. Yes, they are very easy to look up. Yeah, those sheriffs, Shannon Moon and dirtbag Wayne Wu, I want to say they make like $500,000 a year when you add in their benefits packages. Because I was looking all that up a couple of months ago. Is a lot more than I thought. I figured that they were making that much under the table, special favors and such. Enrique had boot prints. Oh, Granny Annie. Where are you hearing this? Because I keep trying to find all the information that I can on that case, and not a lot has come out yet. And I would love to check out what you're checking out if you want to share. I also consider the tincture Astru leader as an LSD maker. Oh, J.R. Nana Boomer, aren't you so smart? So, Trinity Backus's boyfriend, his mommy, Sunshine Fowler. Yeah, Sunshine Fowler. So she's the one that you're talking about, I would imagine, that she was a leader in the Astru Church, and she is a person who helped officiate Kylie Rodney's quote unquote celebration of life. And her little boy, her son's girlfriends keep passing away. It's really weird, Paisley Woodard from the year before Trinity Backus, and then the way those two look like doppelgangers is really weird too. and almost a year to the day. It was like a year and a week apart, I think. So yeah, thank you, J.R. Nana. Very, very good, astute comment there. Been here just listening and reading, watching. Drift Away is lurking. Thanks for saying hi. Lovely to see you, my dear. 2 keys, Jazz, possibly 2 of them. Jazz, about your pooch, did you change out her food after you found out she had C? Yeah, we've been giving her that, spoiling her rotten with that farmer's dog stuff, you know, because just in case she doesn't have a lot of days left in her. Stuff's expensive, but it makes them really happy. And what if Trinity B, but thank you for asking. That's a really good question. If not, yeah. What if Trinity B was warning for someone that might have had access to information that someone didn't want out more as a now do we have your attention? Shh. Huh, Sandra, fascinating. Trinity Bacchus, yeah. So, you know, her mom, Andrea Stanio, had divorced Deputy Stanio, but she had also just moved back in with him. While they were divorced, he married somebody else. I think had kids with somebody else, but then I believe he got divorced from that somebody else, or at least was in the process of it. And Andrea had just moved back in with him, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks before her daughter goes missing. And Trinity was living with her mom. So that would, by a matter of deduction, mean that Trinity was living with Deputy Stanio, people. I try not to say it because I try to say like possibly. But if Trinity was in the custody of her mother because she was 16 or 17, I think 16, and her dad was out of state, when her mother moved back in with Deputy Stanio, Trinity would have been moving back in with Deputy Stanio. And then Trinity was over at fake Auntie Ashley's house, Ashley, because she allegedly wanted to have a sleepover, and probably that wasn't allowed at her stepdad's place, right? Or was Trinity couch surfing? Was Trinity living with the Fowlers? I don't know. Was a warning for someone that might have had access to information that someone didn't want out more as a now do we have your attention? That's really good. Oh my gosh, Sandra, what if? Yeah, exactly. I used to live across the street from the #1 COVID-19 U.S. Providence Hospital, 13th Street, Everett. J.R. Nana, that's where my sons were both born, I think. I mean, they were born in Everett. I think that that's the only hospital, the only big hospital in Everett, because it might have had a different owner back then, 17 years ago when they were born there, because one's 20 now and one is 17. But yeah, they were both born at the hospital in Everett. Huh. And it might have been Providence back then. I just don't even remember because, you know, we were transplants from Seattle when we moved up to Marysville. And then I found a really good OBGYN there, and both of the boys were born there. And they lived happily ever after. Pink Coca-Cola like diddly. Roofie goes away 8 hours. Well, the other thing that they do with Roofie, you know, what P. Diddy is being accused of is saline solution, like rehydrating victims after the freak offs so that he can clean their systems out. And then you're not going to detect any of it. And they're not going to know what the F happened because they're going to feel pretty normal and good and then not remember anything from the night before. If they were roofied, which it sounds like that's a very common thing with those people. How about where did she eat peas if they were still in her stomach? Means she passed in a certain amount of time from where they were ingested. Right. And again, that's if that's her. Yeah. I know that is really weird. Wasn't it peas and something else like corn or something? Beans? Some other small thing. Peas and something else, I thought. Um, Likely the lawyers' channels that covered Karen Reed regarding the boot print. Maybe the let's see, there's Andrea Burkhart. That's one of the lawyer channels. There's Lawyer Lee, and these are just the female ones that I watch. Emily Baker. Yeah. I really like Burkhart. I like Andrea Burkhart a lot, but I also like Emily Baker. She's really good too. Elsa P may have been leaving a clue when she said Kylie fell in a hole, K-hole. Right, Fred Field. And could it have been that horrible crevasse of a hole in Jägermeister's video that he posted on his Instagram account on the 2-year anniversary of her remains allegedly being discovered? So August 21st of this year. And I took a couple screenshots of that from Mr. Mark's coverage of it. So let's see. And I use them in my thumbnail in one of my more recent videos. But yeah, for people that don't follow the case, they wouldn't really know what the images are. But there's like a kind of a red rock colored huge crevice, like 10, 15 feet deep, 3 feet wide. And it's like at that 4,000 feet high lookout point where Jägermeister is videotaping. Yes, Sunshine has a shop that sells tinctures. I think she used to be an acupuncturist. I think she had like a whole acupuncturist thing going. And because then that business, I think, was the one that closed around the time that Kylie Rodney thing happened. And that's interesting too. Timing is everything. Why is she closing her business around the same time? Maybe she had another source of income. Elsa P may have been leaving Italy when she said, yeah, okay. But I'm glad I got that one that JR Nana said that I had missed. Sunshine has a shop selling tinctures. Trinity's dad was trying to participate in the chats. Yeah, JR Nana Boomer, I remember that. That was pretty weird, wasn't it? Didn't he like go on he was a guest on somebody's show and it didn't go the way he planned? Because, it's YouTube. It's brutal out here in the streets of YouTube. We chew them up and spit them out. No, I mean, if you definitely have to thicken your skin to be part of the whole YouTube community, right? I mean, even just to say things in chat, because sometimes people get mean and, the trolls. I mean, you just got to like brush it off and deflect it and not worry about it. But yeah, if something happens to your kid, people are going to say rude things and accusatory things. And honestly, if something happened to one of mine, God forbid, I would appreciate the thoroughness. I really would. I would appreciate anything, even accusations, if I didn't have anything to hide, because you want to make sure that there's no stone left unturned. Or maybe somebody that I know I'm not even aware of that they're involved, right? So, I mean, you got to talk to the parents, which is weird that Kylie's parents weren't really talked to. Give me a freaking break. They should have been treated as persons of interest at the very least. It's crazy. That's a huge red flag right there of the corruption. I mean, the whole thing is just such mind effery. It's mind blowing. The whole thing is just gaslighting. That has been a floater clue since mentioned. Who plans a weeknight sleepover the week before? Me and my friends in junior high school did. So I don't know, but not high school. And yeah, that is a good clue, the whole thing is just sus AF, 100% sus AF. That has been a floater clue since mentioned. I like that phrase, floater clue. That's hilarious. You know, there was the floater clue in the Meredith Kercher case. Amanda Knox, like, reacted more to a floater in one of the commodes in that case than she did anything else. And that was so sus. So freaking sus. Like, I want to get into the Meredith Kercher case again with you guys, but I'm seeing that we're already at an hour and a half almost, and I'm not caught up with you guys. So let's try to get caught up and then see to where to go from there. Okay. Well, it was Providence when I lived there back in 2002 or 3 or something. Okay. So yeah, my sons were born in 04 and 07 at Providence then. I just remember the doctor. Of course, I don't remember her name, but I loved her. She was the best. She was the bomb diggity. And I could probably remember her name. I'd have to meditate on it. Like when I was bringing up George's Folly in one of my last lives, but I was calling it like Ferris or something like that. Couldn't remember the name of that little store in Harvard Square, Cambridge, Massachusetts. It took me like a week to just like think about it and not think about it. And then finally it slowly came to me. It was so funny. And I was so frustrated because if my mother was alive, I could have just asked her and she would have told me. And I was like asking people I knew, like, you know, did you ever hang out in that area? Do you know about this cool little store that was like on the corner that was really well known? And it's like your go-to place for everything cool, like clothing and artsy fartsy stuff. George's Folly. It's kind of like a curiosity shop that's a thing in Seattle, ye old curiosity shop, but much smaller and hipper and clothing. So accessories and all. Well, it was Providence. Okay. Why didn't she have any bruising from that incident, Fred? Nothing recorded, no mention of scrapes or bruises. Yeah, and we see some like weird discoloration in the photographs of her, you know, in Shh and Sleepy and and the Weekend at Bernie's photo, you know, the Be Real photo in the car with the two brunettes and the blonde with the eyes closed. Kind of a Weekend at Bernie's kind of thing. There's all kinds of discoloration. Lawyer, you know. Yeah, I don't really watch that one, JR Nana. Granny Annie is traveling again. Bedrow Mark. He likely mentioned the boot print, but he guests on many shows. I think it was CCTV. CCTV is covering that one because yeah, not a lot of people are covering Enrique Delgado-Garcias. I'll have to check her out. Poor Cece, she had backlash with Nick too. I think it weird that the closed to lodge when Kylie went missing and is still closed for sale. Maybe the party was at the lodge and the other party was a cover. Absolutely, Fred. Absolutely. And yeah, in one of those reports, doesn't it say that there was like a cluster of parties? I mean, the whole thing is a cluster, right? They didn't go back and interrogate kids because parents said, leave them alone after they found Kylie in the water. Yeah, and just like the cop saying, like, please come talk to us. And, you know, we're getting word on the street that the grown-ups are telling the kids not to talk to us. It's like, yeah, that's called interfering with an investigation and obstruction of justice, and you can prosecute for that. And, yeah, you don't beg potential witnesses to come talk to you. You find them and you make them talk to you one way or another. Whether it's being friendly or not friendly, good cop, bad cop, you know, you have to pound the pavement. You don't just like make announcements and say, we really need information. We don't know anything. We have thousands of tips and we know nothing. I mean, none of what they said made sense all through the beginning, the middle, and the end of the investigation. It's not like they were investigating anything. Yeah, so frustrating. School night sleepovers, no dirty feet. Yeah, the no dirty feet is huge. Trinity Bacchus, absolutely. And the running away from the house in socks when it's like sleet. I think it was like slushy snow outside. It was really cold. I mean, it's freaking Sierra Nevada's November. It's freaking cold AF. No one's going out running around in their freaking socks. And then she was found 2 miles away. And they were trying to say that, oh, well, maybe she went to her boyfriend's. Maybe she ran to his house. It was 10 miles away. It's like, what, trying to implicate him? I don't know. I mean, he seems pretty sketch with the 2 deceased twin girlfriends a year and a week apart. I mean, that's ridiculous. That was not what I meant by floater, but ha ha ha. Yeah. I just get so sad about Meredith Kercher's case. I know her family is not giving up, and the despicable creature that was jailed, the roommate that was sprung. I mean, she's not giving up either. She's just gross, like making a life and a career off of Meredith's blood. Like she forgot to ever like be sad or horrified or scared or any of that. She totally forgot. She still forgets. You know, once in a while she might mention something about it, but there's no emotion there. Like, I mean, she's a sociopath, so of course not. That doesn't register. So disgusting. And then when I found out that Scalito, or no, what's the boyfriend's name? Rafael Solicio, that his uncle was a lawyer. I didn't know his whole family was like mafia, Italian mafia, man. Like seriously, I knew his dad was a doctor, and that's enough to get people off the hook when they do something criminal. My son was born at what was then Everett Hospital in 1981. Very cool. 1981. We lived in Arlington and Edmonds for 7 years. Very cool. Yeah, my husband started his law enforcement career in Arlington. And yeah, Edmonds is really pretty with the ferry and all looking out over Whidbey Island. It's such a gorgeous area. Such a gorgeous area. So yeah, we lived in, he's from Paulsbo, and we lived over there in Kitsap County for a while. And then we lived in Ballard, then we lived in Kirkland, and then we bought our first house up in Marysville before we moved back to Ohio. So my first kid was born in Seattle. The second and third were born in Everett when we lived in Marysville. And then the fourth one was born here in Ohio and not in Springfield, fortunately. I mean, Springfield is such a rough city. You know, it's never been a really nice place, even when it had a lot to offer, like back in the 60s. When it was like at its peak. It does have some cool stuff, but it's always been a very crime-ridden area. So, you know, Clark County is where Springfield is. And the big claim to fame that Clark County has is it's where 4-H started. And I'm very proud to say that my granddad was part of the advent of 4-H in Clark County. So that's pretty freaking cool. For those that don't know what 4-H is, it's like teaching kids how to be farmers. Like they get to have a pet, like Charlotte's Web. They get to have a pet pig or a pet cow or something, a goat, and then show it at the annual county fair and win some prizes. So I never thought about 4-H and Charlotte's Web. That's cute. I always think about Fern in Charlotte's Web at the beginning when her father is like harping on her lazy brother, and he's like, Fern's out here fighting for justice and everything, like Fern's like a little activist trying to fight for justice for Wilbur. So cute, so cute. Okay, so Cece was with Trinity's dad. That's what I was thinking as I was reading it. J.R. Nana, thank you for clarifying. All freaking lies. The mistress of celebration and son situation, in my opinion, is way too coincidental. Also, yeah, Sandra, I like the way you phrase that. Mistress of celebration and son situation. Because she was certainly at Kylie Rodney's celebration of life, but I don't know if her son was, and I don't know if her son's girlfriend was. Wouldn't that be weird? Wouldn't that be weird? I mean, we probably would have noticed by now in some of the footage, but maybe not, especially if she was the one filming. It's just a thought. Way too coincidental. Yeah, and there's no such thing as a coincidence in a red rum. And I think that both of them were red rummed. Also, TB, that's too much of a rabbit trail for no rabbits to be involved. And see, I just said it, that I think both of them were red rummed, when I'm not even sure if Kylie is or not, honestly. I mean, I don't think any of us know definitively. Some of us might think that we know. There's been times where I thought I knew one way or the other. Just like times when I thought I knew if that last proof of life still shot was her or not. I mean, I still don't think it is her, but it's the mind effery is insane. I mean, that's what gaslighting does, is it just makes you seriously confused, and it makes you question your own judgment and logic, because people are telling you lies, and people that you should be able to trust are telling you lies. Excuse me. Obstruction of justice and interfering with the investigation, criminal according to their possible abduction and carjacking theory. How did Trinity get a half a mile from ants and thicket? I think it was 2 miles. 2 miles, J.R. Nana. Am I incorrect? And took 3 hours with chainsaws to get to her. And dogs lost scent at the end of the driveway. Right. Dang good question, J.R. Nana. And Sherry was in 4-H. Awesome. Grandkid is in 4-H. Driftaway says she just entered her chicken and found out Mrs. Frizzle was a Mr. Frizzle. LOL. That's hilarious. I love it. That is awesome. Way cool. Well, what a perfect thing to mention the 4-H and to get your guys' input on that. J.R. Nana says, I was in 4-H as a kid, had a horse, a cow, a pig, rabbits. My brother had a pig. We did chickens and all kinds of little farm animals. See, that is so cool. Like animal husbandry, I forgot that's what it's called, is such a cool skill to have. Just like teaching kids about trees and teaching them to be arborists, like planting Christmas trees and stuff like that. It's just amazing the worldly experience that these kids are getting, and they don't realize it. They're just like, oh, my chicken or my Christmas tree. They don't realize the bigger picture. They're getting set up for a whole career. A whole career of coolness. There was a picture floating around that looked like Trinity at the celebration of life. Drift away. I never saw that. Are you serious? If you can email it to me, if you can locate it to me, if you can locate it and email it to me, I didn't say that right, I would be so freaking grateful. And my email is justiceatooz@gmail.com. Anybody can email me anytime. That would be fantastic. I don't think I've ever seen that or even heard about it, Drift Away. I don't know anything when it comes to Kylie's case, except that I have been fed lies. Exactly, J.R. Nana. And you are on it. You were really on it. Have you made another video about it? Because I loved your first one. I'll check out your channel and see. Last pick is not Kylie. Hair way too short, fingers too stubby, thighs way too thick. I agree with you 100%, Drift Away. But then I think, well, cameras play games with your eyes. Angles play games with your eyes. But yeah, I look at the chin. I look at the dimple on the cheek and the hairline. Kylie has this hairline that is kind of like, you guys check it out on the photographs. It's kind of like her hair kind of grows down her forehead somewhat. And then the person in that picture has like a real defined hairline. So the hairline is a big giveaway, and the length of the hair. Hey, Mookie, hold on. Come here, baby. Let's see. My brother worked on a Christmas tree farm, J.R. Nana, and the tulip farms like Ethan Chapin worked at, and his brother and sister, the triplets, worked at tulip farms they were from Mount Vernon, Washington, before they moved to Idaho. And then they moved to an area where they had tulip farms over there. So they worked in those tulip farms out around LaConner. For those that don't know, north of Everett is an area called LaConner that has like as much tulips probably as the Netherlands. It's freaking amazing if you've never seen it. We're seeing artwork from there. People do all kinds of paintings and photography and quilts and jewelry. It's just so inspirational. And yeah, the tulips are phenomenal. The tulip farms. Completely agree, J.R. Nana Boomer, but nothing but lies when it comes to Kylie. Exactly. Jazz, I don't have it, but I know it came off someone I watch regularly and close to when she was red rummed. Wait a second. Don't have it, but I know it came off someone I watch regularly and close to when Trinity was red rummed, right? I thought you were meaning the content creator was red rummed. I'm like, oh no, we can't be doing that. No crimes against content creators, please. Or the viewers, right? None of that. J.R. Nana Boomer says, watching the world drift away, Trinity looks like she was there, and Sunshine too, right? Well, Sunshine was definitely there because she was officiating. But I don't know if her son was there, Trinity's boyfriend. No way. Her hair is waist length. That hair is barely shoulder length. Oh, I totally agree with you, Driftaway. I totally agree. You don't have to argue with me. Yeah, that was always weird. The short hair was always weird. It looks like there's a cell phone in each pocket. So that's weird. And then there's pictures of Scammy in that same outfit when her hair was brown. Video of her in that same outfit when her hair was brown. And then Jägermeister posted a picture of Kylie in some clothing that she has that is similar to that clothing, but very different. Like the tank top was different. The pants were different, high-waisted. The belt was different. Everything was different. And it seemed like he was posting that for a reason. One of the pictures of her in the train tunnel where she's not wearing the black dress. One of the few where she's not wearing the black dress. Who is it in the video short pulling hair of dark hair girl in white sleeveless top, hair puller, wearing plaid flannel like Kylie in photo? Are you talking about the scalping video, JR Nana Boomer? I think I still have that somewhere. I think I posted it maybe in my community tab. I know I've posted the kidnapping somebody in the back of a SUV. I know I've posted that a couple of times, but I think I know where to find that video. I think it was Pascal, the Pascal show, that I initially got it from. I really like his channel. If you guys aren't familiar with Pascal, he's also the one who interviewed the woman who discovered Kylen Schulte and Crystal Turner. He interviewed her like on Skype. That was pretty phenomenal. I think that's when I was new to his channel. That's probably what led me to it. So, yes, in the video of the celebration, I don't know if it was news coverage or personal video shared. Trinity Driftway says, yes. Oh, no, don't start another YouTube case, Jazz. Which one? Which one did I just mention? I'm not starting it. What did I do? So the biatch short of SS. No, the biatch short of SS. Okay, so a short video. And she's, well, the scalper one, it kind of looks like her, but I don't think it is her. Remember that one too? Was that scammy, or was it people that looked like her? Did she post it? The one about, it was like this whole thing about unaliving your friend if something. And the one that they said was if she's got bigger chests than you. You guys know what I'm talking about. Sorry, I'm being so vague. If you can help me out. It was this thing that people were doing like on YouTube or more likely TikTok or something. Something about unaliving your friend if, right? You guys remember? Has a fistful of another girl's hair. So the video that I'm thinking, she's got the girl with the head. So in this fistful, is the hair still attached to the head or not? And it's kind of like a scalper kind of thing. It's really creepy. When you asked if a creator was red rummed. Oh, right. No, not another case. Cray cray. Let's see. It's not the SUV video. There's also quickie of passenger head at knees, lifts up laughing, blonde hair flipping. I know that one that you're talking about, JR Nana Boomer. Thank you for bringing that one to mind. Yes, she says something about nobody would believe it, or something in the hair in ponytail. Yeah. But what about the thing that was like that everybody was doing that went viral about, you know, if you're unalive your best friend, if she's bigger chested than you or something? Do you guys remember that? I'll give you a minute before I wrap up because we're like an hour and 45 minutes. Let me drink a little tea and give you guys a second. I know I'm being seriously vague, like I don't have enough to put it together. Sort of like when I was trying to think of George's Folly, and I was like, Ferris something. I was like, Mr. Ferris, what is it? Circus something. I kept thinking circus, Ferris wheel, Mr. George's Folly. So yeah, what was that thing? I could pull up my phone, but I don't think I'd have enough buzzwords to even Google it. If something about if your best friend, offing your best friend, right? Guys, help. And this is just like how to end with end a friendship. Huh. Come on, people. I know you know what I'm talking about. I'll have to find it. No answers, please. Are you guys just as brain dead as I am at this point? Anyway, I was going to look at my notes, see if there's anything big that I wanted to mention that I'm missing. Oh, well, we didn't really talk about Micah Miller. There's the anonymous 911 call that is probably Susie Skinner, that Veronica Jokestar, I think Stephanie Case Files, and a couple other channels have made little tiny videos about comparing that anonymous 911 call where they were worried about JP, and then they said, oh no, forget it, he's in the bathroom, everything's fine. That was really weird. Uh-oh. My hair is going crazy and I knocked down my mic, so I'm gonna have to just log off. It's so funny the way, like, how long ago did the hair go crazy? When I was like messing with it, talking about the hairlines, because I thought I could get away without a hat today, but I can never get away without a hat. Recall vaguely, Driftway says, my brain locks up on the mention of her name and flashes liar, liar, liar. That's awesome. Yeah, I'll think of it. I'll come up with it and then maybe put it like in the Granny Annie drew a blank, first time ever. That's great. I know you guys know what I'm talking about, right? If your chest is bigger, it's like when it's excusable to off your best friend, your bestie. I think it's BFF or bestie. Not finding the video or image of Kylie bigger. Wouldn't blame, right? Something about wouldn't blame. And yeah, it's not Kylie. It doesn't mention anything about Kylie. But you think she's alluding to Kylie, not that specific body part, but something. I remember a short video early on from Instagram or TikTok in the dark with a girl wearing a headlamp trying to get girl to drink. Quiet girl said she wanted water and was told we have no water. Wow, I don't remember that one, Fred Field. I remember the headlamp and such. I don't know if I ever saw that one. I remember chat about it, Jazz. Okay, so the stuff with the anonymous 911 call that's so weird, that sounds like Susie Skinner. These channels were comparing it to the 911 call that was allegedly Micah saying, can you ping my phone? And to me, it does sound a lot like the person who made these calls to 911 who wanted to remain anonymous, but it sounds like it's probably Susie Skinner. And she says that I think it was on the 7th of July. She's requesting a wellness check for JP. I think it's a Sunday. I could check my phone, my calendar. She said, nobody's been able to contact him like since church. He's not returning anybody's phone calls or texts, and he always returns. He always picks up my calls. This is a first. And then she calls back and says, oh, never mind. He was in the bathroom. He finally texted back. It's just like, yeah, that's not weird. Not weird at all. So yeah, July 7th was a Sunday. Good. Okay, at a house party. Yeah. Okay. So the voice is similar to what, the voice of what they say is Micah calling 911 from the park. The other thing about that alleged call of Micah from Lumber River State Park is that allegedly there's no signal out there. Like nobody else can make a call from there, but she can. Right. So I think that's about it. Let's see. So in the Delgado-Garcia case, it seems like a hazing kind of deal. And let's see. This Justin Root added to the Reed case. Well, Justin Root, that's something from 4 years ago. I have to look into that. Anyway, I'm getting all looped out. So no independent agency has been named yet to look into the Delgado-Garcia case, which, oh, that's nice. Let a few weeks roll by because, that first 48, loop. First 48 hours is the most important. So that's pretty effed up. The DA from Norfolk County, I think it was, that he was the victim advocate for a year and a half. And then he resigned from that job 6 months before this boxing incident went wrong. No, the Norfolk County DA, Enrique Delgado-Garcias, was working in the Worcester DA office. I don't want to get those two confused, but it was one of these DAs that said that they weren't going to be the ones to look into it because of the conflict of interest. So that's probably the Worcester DA in New Braintree. Thought I wrote down the name. Yeah, the one at Plymouth City DA. No. Anyway, I better sign off. I'm getting all looped out. His next brainwashing victim. Okay. Lawyer's property, no cell coverage, AI technology, training. She was leaving. Poor JP. Probe working crazy hard on his defense. Yes, good comments. Delgado seems like a STFU. You will not report about your superior, in my opinion. Blanket party. It is called no snitches. Yeah, Granny Annie. I think you're 100% with all of that. I've never heard that term, blanket party. Shows how naive I am, because I think we're about the same age. I might even be a couple of years on the planet longer than you. I've never heard that term, blanket party, but that's a good term. So yeah. So you guys know that Amanda Knox was very jealous of Meredith Kercher, and both of them, did you hear that thunder? That's exciting. Both of them were English speaking, but Meredith was British. So she had the cute British accent on top of being absolutely adorable and talented. She played guitar. Amanda wanted to play guitar. Meredith was dating that cute boy from downstairs, and Giacomo, I think is how you say his name, something like that. Really cute boy that I think Amanda had a tryst with, and then he was like real serious about Meredith, and yeah, just lots of jealousy. Jealousy is just crazy. Okay, so Joe Early is the DA that Enrique worked with. Okay, his name is Joe Early. That's the DA who said that they won't be doing the investigation because of conflict of interest, but nobody had been named for doing the investigation. No independent agency had been named yet, and that is just so nuts. Where's the accountability, man? Where is the accountability? Yeah. Oh, and there were also bets on the boxing match. Annie, did you hear about that part? That there were bets on the boxing match, that he was like knocked out, and then people were like, come on, get back up. I don't know. Let me know if you heard that. Okay. My battalion chief always said my kid's dad needed a blanket party brotherhood. Ew. Well, it sounds like he did need that, right, Annie? I mean, from what you've shared about him, you could agree, right? You could concur. Ugh, sounds like nobody liked him. They should have taken that floater from the toilet, allowed it to dry, check for fingerprints. Oh no, drift away. Yeah, I mean, that was like used as evidence that it was Rudy that did it, because that had to be his floater because nobody else would leave a floater. Oh, okay. The floater points to him. I gotcha. Sure. Because, yeah, we know Amanda wouldn't do anything gross like that because she always did stuff gross like that. The girl had a freaking self stimulation toy attached to her keychain. That's the kind of class that chick had. I know it is vulgar, but when you pass, you lose control. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Um, what do they call it? Like vacating your bladder and the other thing. Yeah. Elimination. Body elimination. There's less vulgar ways to say it, but my brain's shutting down, turning off, not working. Jealousy is alive and well in small towns. I'm meeting new ladies in small Mexican town. Mean girls Americans grow up and move to small towns. I just smile. Well, I think that was the situation with Kylie and Scammy. Um, Often situations like maybe with Trinity Backus's doppelganger, Paisley Woodard, the year before. It was you guys who told me that the girl who ran her over with the car was her boyfriend's ex. And I haven't been able to look that up to verify that, but I do have a vague recollection of something like that from way back. So I'll look and see if I can verify that. So if they offed her in the bed, then it may have been necessary to dispose of. Oh, if you're talking about Meredith, they offed her in her bedroom on the floor, and they were doing some horrible things to her involving Vaseline and, a knife on her neck, nicking her face, and the back door. And she was on her knees. It was really, really sad. I should have said trigger warning. Evacuation upon passing. Yeah. Would be ironic to throw her back in jail over the floater she was so fascinated with. Yeah, she definitely needs to be in prison. I mean, I fear for the lives of her babies. She has 2 children, and I just can't believe the idiot that married her and impregnated her. Like, I think he's just a gold digger. He's a journalist and she's a journalist, and she's created a whole career out of the infamy of being this disgusting, not just an unaliver, but an assaulter of the intimate type, of the vulgar intimate type. That's what she was accused of. She wasn't just accused of the Red Room. She was accused of the SA also. And I fully believe that she was fully involved in that all the way. And she was the ringleader. And that could be very similar to Scammy. Annie, you have such class. Thank you. Tossing in bush is okay. And knowing the medical examiner, I guess they just get away with red rums there. Yeah. Yeah. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Oh, we're just past 2 hours. Yeah, I'm definitely expired like sour milk. I always enjoy listening to your voice, and you are pleasantly engaging, Jazz. Thank you for being a wonderful channel hostess. Thank you, you guys. Love you more, as Shanann Watts would say. Seriously, love and light. You guys really inspire me. And so does all this cool stuff that I've got all the batteries for, not cords. I got all the cords over here with like the computer and the lights. But yeah, pretty much everything over here is battery operated. And yeah, I have to remember to show that because that's the freaking coolest. That's the most recent edition, I think. Um, and yeah, like I should just get out of the way and just let you guys meditate on the set for a while, right? Like I'm just yakking and talking nonsense, talking smack. Have a great day and weekend. Love and light, people. Thanks so much for being here on the replay crew or live. Both are extremely valuable. Please hit that like button. Share a video of mine with a friend if you think that they might like it. And I will see you on the next one. Take it easy. Stay hydrated. Eat your protein. And just get some good R&R. And be kind. And what does this last one say? Love and light to all. Jez got a ton of battery operated toys. Oh, I shouldn't have read that one out loud. That's not true. That's hilarious. All right. See you soon, you guys. Thanks again.